Hi, this is Carter Graham, and welcome to this Flip It Live demonstration page. Right now, I'm going to use the Flip It Live system to show you how a live webcast works inside the platform. Now, before we move forward, it's important for you to understand that what you'll see on this page is pretty much how the system actually works. So what you'll see is all the stuff that can happen during your live web broadcast as well. By the time we're done, you'll see how easy Flip It Live makes it to create live webcasts. It'll be obvious how much fun and benefit you can have in your online business. I'm going to break it up into two different sections. First, what goes up front, meaning what the audience, you in this case, sees on the page and how it all happens. And second, I'll talk about what goes on behind the scenes as a live webcast is produced, just like when Flip It Live runs a live webcast for a client, what the roles, positions, and components are. Plus, I'm going to get really specific about how Flip It Live can help you leverage web broadcasts with its unique live interactive platform, the same way the Flip It Live team has helped most of the top names in online marketing generate millions in revenue, like Rich Schefren, Dan Kennedy, Ali Brown, Brendan Bouchard, and Andy Jenkins, just to name a few. Now, as far as using the live webcast to connect and market, it's important to understand that there are actually three types of live web broadcasts. And, of course, there's combinations of those three. First, there's the live web broadcasting designed to educate and to teach. Second, there are live webcasts that entertain. And third, there's using live webcasts as a way to sell. The two primary uses in Flip It Live's experience have been to teach and to sell, but ultimately, entertainment should be a part of all live webcasts. So in the world of online marketing for business, entertainment doesn't really need its own separate category. But for now, let's just call it three. Number one, teaching. Number two, selling. And number three, entertaining. And I think if we're talking about the first one, teaching, you'd agree that to be a good teacher, you pretty much have to know how to sell and how to entertain, even if you do it without thinking about it. So first, let's talk about the effectiveness of a live web broadcast designed to teach and how that specifically can benefit your business. In terms of cost effectiveness and possible reach, when it comes to teaching, there's no better medium than live web broadcasting. And when it comes to creating easy content, there's nothing better than live video on the Flip It Live platform. Here's why. From just about any location, which could be a studio, or even better, from your office or right from your home, you can reach thousands of people with live interactive media. Now, that phrase interactive is really key, because using the Flip It Live system, you can totally create an interactive experience, including creating clickable buttons and images in the call to action module over here to the screen on the right, where the audience can download materials, including PDFs or videos or audio files, etc. Let me give you a quick walkthrough of how that'll happen for you when you start using the Flip It Live system. Visualize yourself broadcasting from your home office, your business, maybe even a studio with single or maybe even multiple cameras capturing live video. You'd basically just be having conversations with your friends and your colleagues, and your audience would be having conversations in the chat module from time to time. You'd be able to respond to those chat questions that they post right down below this video here. Now, a lot of our clients, including Maury Smith, John Assaraf, Ali Brown, and Brendan Bouchard, have used Flip It Live for the purpose of educating with great success. Just listen to what Brendan has to say.
You know, getting your message out there live to an audience directly, there's nothing like it, nothing like it. And I've been blessed to, the first time I did my first webcast, and that was something that literally we came up with the idea, I don't know, a couple days in advance, and it all ran without a glitch, with literally over 9,000 people who watched the entire duration of like 4 hours who were in this thing. I didn't know how to set up the page. I didn't know what products or programs to use. I didn't know how to embed it. I didn't know how to make it all stream. I didn't know how to cut different things. So during the live webcast, I had the biggest names in the industry Skyping in. And so I'd be talking and my guest expert would be right next to me, and then he'd make them full, then go back to me, and he was editing it like a television producer. And I have to recommend him very highly to you. If you have the opportunity to work with them, I not only vouch for them, I can't recommend them more highly. If you get a chance to work with them today.
Best thing is, there's no stopping when you're live. So you never really have a chance to get in your own way. unlike with recorded productions. This whole idea of having an audience present, which forces you not to stop, makes content creation literally fly by. Plus, having a live virtual audience there as you broadcast actually helps you create and refine the content as you go, because the audience can ask you questions that you might not have thought of if you were creating content in isolation. Plus, you'll be surprised at how quickly time flies when you have a virtual audience there to engage with. It's actually a pretty common thing for our Flip It Live clients to say, wow, that went so fast, and it was way easier than I thought it was going to be, after they do their first live webcast with us. So, let's say you're here in the video, and let's say your audience is watching and interacting down here in the chat. Now, let's say you want to teach them a concept, something that's related to your business. As a part of that, you can give them a PDF that they can follow along with. The link to that would go over here in the call to action module. Now, as a part of this exercise, you'd say something like, so now, if you look on page 4 of the PDF you just downloaded, you can see step 3, where I show you how to do ABC and XYZ. Now, does anybody in chat have any questions? Then you'd either look at the chat area yourself or have someone from your team relay the questions that get asked. The stuff that's most relevant to your topic. Now, the benefits of this are, of course, direct live interaction with your audience, plus the ability to bond with them by teaching and by giving them something as a gift or as a learning aid. If you wanted, you could even get them to engage in some kind of action or behavior, which is ultimately the purpose of teaching anyway. Now, that action could be to purchase something from you, so you can afford to continue teaching. Which takes us to our next type of live webcast, the selling type of live webcast. In this type of live webcast, instead of just having a CTA module set up to give away a free PDF or an audio file, a video file, whatever, you could actually present your audience of prospects with an add to cart button, again, right here next to the video. So let's say your live webcast started about 45 minutes ago and that you've been teaching since it began. Now you want to offer something for the audience to buy. The benefit to using the Flip It Live platform is you can reveal your call to action module whenever the time is right, like so. The point is, the audience doesn't have to arrive at the live webcast page and have an add to cart button staring them in the face so they don't go, they're just trying to sell me something. And you're not locked into revealing the add to cart at any kind of predetermined time, which is the old school way of doing it, before the Flip It Live system was created by Tony and the Dev Dojo team. And that means you can reveal your add to cart button whenever the moment is right, 100% live. Plus, in both of these scenarios, you can change out all of the other module areas, which I'll walk you through right now. So, obviously, right up at the top is the title banner module. That's where you'd put your logo with maybe a picture of you or your client and a title explaining the purpose of your live webcast. Right underneath that, in the area here, is the headline module, which, like a lot of other modules, is completely dynamic, meaning you can change it anytime you want, just like so. See, I just changed a headline to, see, I just changed a headline. I do love a paradox. Right below the headline module is, of course, the video area, which is where I am right now. And this is really the window of your live webcast soul, because this is where you really communicate who you are to your audience. In this video area, you can connect directly with your audience, creating the same kind of bond you get with them during a seminar or on a platform, but with nearly all the benefits of a webinar or a teleseminar, meaning you get a real-time connection with your audience without ever needing to travel anywhere special to do it. Plus, you get a bunch of other unique live interactive modules around the video streaming module to reinforce your message and trigger mental impulses that drive real sales. Stuff that you really don't have the luxury of doing on stage or other types of live performances or during teleseminars. Right below the video streaming area is the feedback meter. This is one of the coolest features about the whole Flip It Live platform. It gives you a clear picture of what the audience is into and what they're not. Kind of like what you saw during the 2012 presidential debates on CNN. It tracks and reflects in real time the number of people who are clicking on the feedback meter so you know how the live broadcast is being received. The audience can see it too, which makes the whole thing totally circular. This is something that only the Flip It Live team has, and you can't get this type of feedback when you're doing something via the web anywhere else. Now, right below the feedback meter module is the chat window message module, where you can send messages to chat, telling them to link here or there, or maybe if you were selling something, you might post a link to buy right here. You could also put a message here that encourages the audience to post a question or remind them that a bonus offer is about to go away. You could do this kind of stuff inside a chat, but the thing is, people don't necessarily pay attention to the chat area all the time. So having a dynamic message above the chat area is great for getting your audience to stand up and pay attention. Then, of course, below the chat message is the actual chat module itself. The chat module is used to create live interaction between the audience and the host. This is where people post their messages and interact with each other. During your live webcast, you might grab some messages that you find interesting and respond to them live, or watch for buying questions from people in chat that are ready to purchase and push them off the fence, so to speak. The live chat module is pretty much the key element, aside from the video streaming module, that makes a live webcast so effective at driving audience engagement and triggering sales. It's what keeps things really circular, which is really the magic of the whole thing. Now, let's move up here to this area right next to the video streaming module. This is called the call to action module, which you've already seen. The CTA module has multiple uses, including the delivery of supporting materials like PDFs or audio files, anything really. If you click it right now, you'll be able to download a PDF version of this presentation that actually gives you some extras, including a way to save a ton of money on Flip It Live services and products. The CTA module could also be utilized to get the audience to talk about your live webcast via social media channels with a huge graphic to, let's say, Facebook share, as you see here right now, or to tweet about your live webcast and drive some extra traffic. In fact, this area could actually be used to link to just about anything that helps drive interaction, and it's a great way to train your audience to click when you tell them to. But its primary function in the world of online marketing is to help you to sell whatever it is you have to offer. So, a standard add to cart button or maybe a join now button or what have you should be here most of the time when the sales part is going on. And right below that, you have the optional timer module, which can be used a few different ways, but its best use is to trigger a sense of urgency in your audience. This urgency can drive engagement and sales using a fast action bonus, or if you were using the live webcast to teach, it can also be used for some sort of time test. This feature is also unique to the Flip It Live platform and ultimately a huge driver of engagement and sales. It's practically irresistible if you use it the right way. Let me demonstrate for you what I mean. Right now, I'm going to put up on the screen a 20-second timer. If you click the CTA before the timer runs out, you will be entitled to a 40% discount on any of Flip It Live's products or services, which could mean a couple of $100 to a couple $1,000 in savings for you. If somehow you can resist the urge to click it, so you can at least find out about this discount and how you can use it to massively increase your business's bottom line, my hat's off to you. During this demo video is the only time you can get the 40% discount. Time's ticking. It's just about gone. And along with it, that one-time only discount on Flip It Live products and services. So I'll move on to the CTA text module. It's right down below the timer module. Here you can post what's coming up next or information that you'd like the audience to know about. You can pretty much put text of any kind right here, and you can make it clickable or not. The absolute best use for this area is to drive to an information page that helps sell. So in the call to action module, right above it is, let's say, a Facebook share button or a PDF download button. This area here could be set to link to an info page or a sales page where the user could buy, so at all points they're able to purchase. If you click it right now, you can see how it takes you to the Flip It Live info page. So, when you combine all these modules, functions, and features together, you get the one-of-a-kind Flip It Live platform. It's a platform that pretty much anyone can use to simply and easily create a live webcast page. There are no developers or complicated technical stuff to deal with, and everything is in one place with a step-by-step interface that walks you through the process of creating one live webcast page or as many as you want. It's a copy and paste, drag and drop, brain dead simple thing, so you don't need to do any painful mental gymnastics. Now that I've shown you how the Flip It Live platform works up front to create a live webcast page, let's talk a little bit about how things work from the inside of an actual live webcast. Meaning, what goes into making a live webcast work, as far as what goes on behind the scenes to create what you see in the video stream. So there are essentially 5 areas involved with creating a live webcast. And at the end of the day, it really only takes 1 or 2 people to handle all 5 of these areas. But I've broken it up into 5 key, clear roles so you have a very good picture of the stuff that needs to be handled. First is the set. This is the area where the video shoot gets conducted. I've got a couple of chairs and a little table over here, but it could be far more elaborate or whatever you want, or you don't necessarily need to set up anything at all. You can pretty much broadcast from anywhere with a decent internet connection. If you had a good signal, you could be at the top of a skyscraper broadcasting. So wherever it happens to be, the area being videoed is the set. Your set needs a good light source and 1 or more cameras with audio inputs and some sort of output you can connect to your laptop or your desktop computer. I'll talk more about the tech stuff in a bit. The set that you see right here on screen is just a table, a couple of chairs, some bookshelves, and a nice carpet underneath it. It's really, really simple. Now let's move away from the live webcast set area and towards the tech area. The technical director is in charge of this area, which is where all the audio and video hardware and the broadcasting software comes together. Stuff like the cameras and the mics and so forth that are used to capture your live webcast, which you would then send to whatever video streaming service you would use. It could be Ustream's free service, or it could be a paid service like Livestream, Watershed, or any of the other paid or free services out there. The Flip It Live team is among the best in the business at live web broadcasting. So the setup here is kind of extravagant sometimes, but all you really need is a single camera with a way to capture audio. Like this, for instance, plus a converter box, like this one, so that your computer can understand the video signal and some software to send to your live video streaming provider. It's actually way simpler than most people think. Just don't tell our tech directors Tom and Colin I said that. Anyway, everything else gets hosted on the Flip It Live platform all in one place. Then there's the chat management position. This is the person in charge of monitoring and interacting with the chat area. The live webcast host could do this on their own, or they could place someone else in charge of managing the chat and feed questions to them via index cards or relaying to them off camera. The Flip It Live crew uses a teleprompter to relay this to the host, so that way they can look right into the camera. Essentially, the person in charge of chat management is responsible for connecting the audience in the chat area to the host and to the guest during the live webcast. It's crucial to make sure that the chat area is well controlled. When you work with Flip It Live, they'll show you all the ins and outs of setting up your webcast chat to filter out the undesirable comments, plus show you how to ban unwanted pests from your chat area. As simple as it might sound, managing your webcast live chat effectively is actually a main ingredient in having a successful and profitable broadcast. Next, let's talk about the live webcast flow direction. This role is similar to the role of a floor director in the broadcast production world. It's the flow director's job to be sure that everything is making sense to the audience, so they're pretty much directing whoever is on screen, meaning the host, and also communicating with whoever's in charge of technical direction, which we've already talked about. It's important to understand that it's completely feasible to run things from your own notes or just wing it during a live webcast, and there are plenty of people who've had 6- and 7-figure live webcasts with only themselves and one other person helping them manage it. But in the context of Flip It Live's formula, the flow director is really a key position, because this person is getting the questions from the chat manager and feeding them to the host via the teleprompter. In a sales-oriented live webcast, this person's job is to make sure that the questions that get chosen from chat are related to the selling, and that the host knows what the sales numbers are and how many people are on the page watching the live webcast. The truth is, in addition to the crew's incredible technical capabilities, the flow direction is one of the reasons why so many people work with Flip It Live. Flip It does flow direction better than anyone else in the live webcasting business. Flip It doesn't just show up with video cameras and broadcast it on the web. Flip It Live drives massive sales for you and your business. The last of the 5 webcasting roles to talk about is the overall live webcast coordination. The live webcast coordinator makes sure that all the pieces come together. It's important to understand you don't necessarily need anyone in the spot, but if you're going to have the type of live webcast where you have multiple guests with multiple different materials coming on from out of town, from all over the place, then the live webcast coordinator is a pretty key role. The person in the live webcast coordinator role handles arranging the live webcast schedule and bounces between the other 4 positions to make sure that everything runs smoothly. Flip It Live handles a lot of webcasts that are fairly large and complex, so a live webcast coordinator is pretty much key. But to do it for yourself, it can really just be someone on screen by themselves using a single camera, taking questions from chat on their own, and keeping the flow going based on their own notes. One helper, and that's all you really need to pull off a simple but effective live webcast using the Flip It Live platform. So that pretty much concludes walking you through how a live webcast works on the front side using the Flip It Live platform and the behind the scenes part of a live webcast production. Before you go, I want to remind you that right next to the video on screen is a button that will take you to a page where you can find out more about how to leverage what Flip It Live has to offer in the way of products and services. It's key to understand that if you're not leveraging live web broadcasting right now, you are potentially missing a huge opportunity and maybe even falling behind the curve. They're really easy to do, and nothing, absolutely nothing, creates a connection with an audience the way that a live web broadcast does. Plus, live web broadcasting is super fun, and most importantly, a great way to teach, entertain, and generate revenue for your business. Click the Show Me More button next to the video on screen right now to find out how you can use Flip It Live to grow your online business. This is Carter Graham. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you behind the Show Me More button.